All right, kind of sad that my second video has to come when I'm sick. You might be able to hear it in my voice a little bit. I'm almost over it, but this was an issue that had to be talked about, and unfortunately it will be the second video on my channel, something that I did not want to get completely into. I didn't want to talk strictly politics or take huge sides in issues that might be controversial, but this is something that I feel I need to comment on and I need to give my thoughts. So there are hundreds of these so-called ISIS brides looking to come home. The biggest two right now are the two that have given interviews. One is Huda Muthana from the U.S. She was born in Alabama. When she was 19, she left college to go join the Islamic State. She was there for about 4 years. She is now 24, I believe. So she was there for a little over 4 years or so. The other one is Shamima Begum, or I don't know how to pronounce it exactly. She was 15 when she left East London to go join the Islamic State. She is now 19. She became one of the poster childs for the Islamic State. Both of them have given interviews to major news outlets. They have been around the media. And I tried to look at this from a somewhat unbiased point as to how to deal with them. So I will say right now, I'm not coming out and claiming that they're a victim of anything. They knew what they were doing. They saw the videos before going over there. They were not radicalized beyond their own choice. They voluntarily joined ISIS, and they have no expectation. They should not have any expectation of coming home and receiving minor sentences to what they have done. So let me get that bias out of the way right away. Now, the big argument right now is what to do with them. There seems to be a majority of people who want to leave them in this quote-unquote refugee camp. And I say quote-unquote because it's not really a refugee camp. It is a containment camp. These are a lot of people who were part of ISIS who are being held there and look to be tried as being part of the Islamic State in courts, which is why they are coming out right now and quote-unquote begging to come home. I would say the U.S. bride has done a little more in the sense of begging versus the UK bride, who in all of her interviews looks like she is simply expecting to come home. She is expecting people to feel sorry for her. She's expecting the UK government to go out of their way and to bring her back home with her child, and expect like all of this just kind of blows over. She might get like a few little sentences, and then she gets to raise her child in the UK under all the welfare benefit. And frankly, that I feel way more anger towards than the other one, but both of them I still feel an immense amount of anger for what they have done, what they have joined, and now they're begging to come back is even worse. And I fall on the side of the people who want to leave them there. Now, the argument against comes in the fact that it's the UK and the US citizens who have gone abroad and committed these terrorist acts, and it's the US and the UK's responsibility to clean up their mess. And I understand where that argument is coming from. I kind of understand the argument that you don't want to leave them there to potentially join up with other radicalized, factions in there. There's still Al-Qaeda. There's a couple other, terrorist organizations in there. You don't want to leave. The thought is you don't want to leave them there, have them hook up again, potentially cause more problems, and bring them home and bring them to justice wherever they may be. Now, my problem with that argument is that, for one, when you bring someone home to try them and bring them for justice, they've committed a serious offense, but they have not gone and become abetted in a murderous regime declaring you as a state of an enemy. When someone goes abroad and commits murder or gets caught dealing big drugs. Drug laws may not be the best example, as some countries are more reluctant to punish drug offenses, but in any case, something like murder, when they're sitting in there and they beg to come home, you expect the government to go out and try them for murder in your own country, but under the law, they can allow the country where the murder took place to happen there if they are tried under similar penal codes, similar court systems, similar laws on the books. The United States does have this policy. I believe the UK does as well. From my limited law classes, that seems to be how it's done. Both of these ladies were in Iraq and Syria where the crimes are committed. Now, the court system might not be the same there, but as the US and as the UK, we have the ability and we have the right to accept whatever Syria and whatever Iraq decides to punish these ladies with. And I feel like that is the best option, the best course of action right now. Not going out of our way to rescue them from whatever punishment Syria or Iraq, whoever it is in charge, whether it's our Iraqi government that was backed by the United States and the UK and other Western alliances, or whether it's Bashar al-Assad backed by Russia, who try these ladies, we should let Syria and Iraq, who have been dealing with this murderous regime and their citizens and their country have been ripped apart by that, they should be the ones who deal with this issue. They are the first crack at them. They took the most punishment from them. Most of the crime was committed against their citizens, and they are the ones who should have first crack. Now, whatever happens after that, should they not receive life sentences or execution, then we can decide whether we want to leave them there, revoke their citizenship, and let Syria or Iraq deal with them, or the Kurds deal with them, or whether we want to bring them back and then try them in the United States for the crimes they have committed in Syria and lock them up for the rest of their lives in the United States, in Guantanamo Bay, or wherever in the UK. I'm not familiar with where they store terrorists. Some apparently just leave them roaming on the streets, but that is besides the point. That is what should happen to them. I do not buy this narrative that is being put forth by the media or by their families or whoever, that they are victims of ISIS just like others. Just go and listen to some of the interviews done by Shamima Begum. It's truly horrifying how she tries to justify the Manchester bombings. She tries to justify living a normal life, except for the fact that there are bombs going off everywhere, and she sees decapitated corpses or decapitated heads in trash cans while she's walking around. That is something she willingly, voluntarily went to. She says she looked at the videos of beheadings as well as daily life in the Islamic State and thought, that is where I want to be. She went there, as well as Huda Muthana, who went to the US from the US and then started encouraging attacks on American soil, calling for the death of American citizens in terrorist acts from the Islamic State. Both of them knew what they were getting into voluntarily. These are nothing like mistakes that most people make, and some mistakes that people make have a year, 2, 3 years in jail sentence, but they don't go killing anyone. They don't go committing crimes anywhere near this nature. This is not something that's simply can be ignored or can be a slap on the wrist or 5 to 10 years. This is something that needs to be dealt with by the Syrian government. If execution is what the Syrian government or the Iraqi government or the Kurdish militia have judged for them as the United States and as the UK, they should accept it. I think the UK denying and revoking their citizenship, I think that is the right move. They are not stateless. They are part of Bangladesh. Bangladesh's government, I believe, cannot revoke it at this point, even though she doesn't have full entitlementship to it. I think Bangladesh at this point should say they are citizens of us, we will not do anything to release her. We will prevent her from entering our country as well. Syria, Iraq, you guys get to deal with her first. I think that would be the thing to do. Perhaps if it gets overturned in the courts, the UK can say, fine, she is a citizen of ours. We will not do anything to bring her back. She is to be tried in Syria. We will accept whatever the Syrian courts recommend as her sentence, and then once she is done serving those sentences, if she is released, she will be sent back to the UK, where we will then try her on these charges, and we will punish her and make sure she does not set foot as a free woman for the rest of her life. She should be locked up, if not murdered, for this. The same goes as the US citizen from the Huda Muthana, sorry. She should have the same punishment. Her citizenship was revoked in 2014 by the Obama administration after she left for ISIS, and the Trump administration has continued this policy. So this is something that's not like the Trump administration going above and beyond by partisanship. This was bipartisan to let people know that she has lost her citizenship here. It should stay the same. Punishment should come down swift and harsh from the United States and the United Kingdoms, and it should send a message to everyone else when the next murderous regime comes up and they have incidents like this. This is the punishment. When that regime goes down, when it inevitably fails because they are murderous and the entire world turns against them and takes them down, this is what happens. This is your punishment. You deal with it by accepting the full consequences of whatever Middle Eastern country you have done this to and whatever their punishment is. And their punishment is the same kind of thing you have been exposed to and apparently okay with living under for 4 years. Death for terrorists. And that should be exactly what happens. We should not cave. We should not become flaky. We should not become soft on these people, because it sets a dangerous precedent for many years to come as far as new countries and what happens. If we let someone like this come in, who is to say they don't go and bomb something else and kill more people? I would rather let them go in there and then after a potential execution wonder if that was the right decision, than let them come back and let more UK or US persons die and say, oops, that was the wrong call. That's my 2 cents on it. Let me know in the comments what you think. I may or may not reply. I'm not here as often. I am looking at my other 2 another 2 video ideas. One is on the Catholic Church and how it has gone completely downhill for the past 15 to 20 years. The other is on the student loan issue. So I'm trying to get those videos up, trying to get my thoughts together, and those should be coming out soonish. I'll say that. But anyways, that's it for me, guys. See you guys later.